What are you gonna do? Bring a backpack full of cash to my house? Get out of here. Hey everyone, welcome back. Adrian Wiggins here. So today we're going to be talking about this whole we buy houses cash thing that everybody sees. Either you've seen it in a commercial, you've got an email, you've got one of these handwritten letters in the mail, and it basically just tells you that they're going to buy your house for cash. Don't need a realtor, don't need to do any repairs, nothing like that. Also, what they do, you may have seen these little signs on busy intersections, either like on a white poster board written in black magic marker, we buy houses cash, and a phone number to call. And you're like, if you're like me, you're thinking scam first off. And I'm going to tell you who these people are, if it's a scam, if it's legit, what they want, and if you can actually benefit from it. So let's talk about first off if this is a scam or legit. I will tell you 100% this is legit. It is not a scam. These are people, these are investors actually looking to buy your house. They want to do it legally, legitly. They want to own your home. Being a real estate agent, dealing with investors, being an investor myself, and being a member of the Arkansas Real Estate Investors Group, I see this a lot. I know some of these guys personally, so I know this is actually something that they do. They are wanting to go in there, buy your home, have it for themselves as a rental or maybe a fix and flip investment kind of thing. So all in all, if you get this letter, if this may be something that you're interested in, absolutely reach out to these guys. So who are they? There are two different types of investors that are looking for these types of houses, and what kind of houses, I'll get into that here in a minute. But you're looking for, we'll call them the end buyer. They're the guys that actually have the money to purchase your house. They're going to either go in there and fix it and flip it, or they're going to hold it and rent it out as a rental. This type of investor can be a buy a couple of houses a year kind of guy, or buy hundreds of houses a year and have like a company and that's all that they do. Now, the second kind of investor that are going to have these signs and letters sent out are what they call wholesalers. These are kind of like the middlemen. What a wholesaler does is they don't actually buy your house at the end. They basically negotiate the terms and the price of your house. So they'll put out these signs, they'll put out these letters, they'll go meet, walk through, and actually put your house under contract, but they aren't actually going to be the ones taking that contract to the title company and closing on it in their name. What they're going to do is take that contract and basically flip it over to a end user investor. And by doing that, they're gonna make a few bucks in the middle. So they're gonna do all the legwork, but they're not actually wanting to hold the house, put money into the house, owning the home with all the liability and getting people to go in there and fix it, to find renters, having a management company, all that. They're not interested in all that. They just want to find the deal, get it under contract, flip that contract, and make a quick buck. Nothing against them, absolutely nothing against them. They just don't want that liability in their part. Some of them actually don't have the money to buy the house yet. This is kind of like a stage of what most beginners in real estate investing start out with. They do the wholesaling, and that way they can get a good knowledge of the whole market. They can build a rapport with a whole lot of investors in the area. Even some investors that buy and hold at the end are still wholesalers. So I know people that they'll mostly wholesale, and if they find a good deal that they can't really sell to an investor, or an investor doesn't want for any reason, they'll keep it and they'll rent it out or they'll do whatever. It just kind of depends on what they're doing in their business and what their goals are for it. Okay, so the next thing is, what are these guys looking for? Why are they sending out these flyers? Why are they not, going on Zillow like everybody else looking for a house that's on the market to buy? Well, they're not looking for your traditional house. In most of these letters, and when you're talking to them, they'll say things like you don't need a real estate agent, you don't need to make repairs. These are houses that either are handed down to you and you think, okay, well, what am I going to do with this house? I don't have money to repair it or anything like that. Maybe it's a rental that you've had for a while, and now, especially with a pandemic like it is, they're like, okay, this is not something that I want to keep. This is something that I've got to get rid of. These guys are looking for those types of houses. The more rundown, they need some work. It's going to take some money to get in there, or somebody that needs to sell their house as soon as possible. They don't have, the 30, 45 days to wait for escrow to close for a bank. They just don't have time for that. They need a quick sell. Is what it boils down to. So what they're looking for as a person is someone who has one of these houses that are kind of in a bind, so to speak. Not really just to take advantage of them. Absolutely not. Actually, it's just the opposite of taking advantage. These guys are here to help. A lot of people have a house that's close to foreclosure, or maybe it's just something that they know needs a lot of money into it and they don't have the money to put into it. These investors can come in, they can look at your situation. There are multiple ways to structure a deal to where things can work out that's not traditional, so to speak, with a traditional loan and that kind of thing. We'll talk about the whole cash deal here in a second. But because of who they are and what they do and the cash type money that they have to work with, they can do a few more things that the traditional buyer can't do, who's just going to get a normal loan through a bank. So these guys are actually here to help. I know a lot of people that are underwater with their house, where they can go to one of these investors and they can structure it a certain way where the mortgage can get paid off and the person can walk away with a little bit of money in their pocket and not have to go through foreclosure or bankruptcy or anything like that. So the person can, there's ways around it that you can actually come out better than you think you are. So let's go ahead and get into the cash deal. No, they don't carry around briefcases. A lot of these investors, especially if they've been investing for a while, they'll keep a couple $100,000 in a bank just to buy a house. That way they can buy the house and it's an investment for their business, and they just turn that money over and over and over. And anytime that they sell a house, they keep that money in that bank to purchase the next one. And they'll just rake off the profits off the top for them and keep investing in their business. More than likely what's happening is they have a really good relationship with their bank, and they've gone through, they've had many loans with the bank, many years with the bank, and that relationship helps them build a large line of credit. And that line of credit is what they're using instead of actual cash. So no, as a seller that's selling their house for cash, you won't ever actually get cash. It still goes through a title company. You'll get a check at the end, money order, maybe a wire, but no actual greenback cash is involved in this. Sorry. So what's the benefit of that? There's a couple of benefits. The main one is the timing issue. Title companies and mortgage lenders are the two main people that you're going to deal with when you purchase a house traditionally. So you're going to have the lender that the buyer goes through. They're going to do all their paperwork, all their background checks, credit checks, and everything on the buyer. This takes time. Usually it takes 30 days plus for a bank to get all of their paperwork where they need it. Now, a title company, on the other hand, they're the one that just basically looks at the history of the title, make sure that the person that owns the house now is rightfully the right person to own the house. All the liens are taken care of. They don't owe any money to anybody that's put liens on the house. And the new owner can take possession of that house with a clear title. That can be done in as little as 2 weeks. Some of these investors, they've got it down to, a week, maybe 10 days with good title companies. So they can buy your house really, really quick. They come in and they'll either write a check to the title company, or more than likely they'll have the bank just wire the money over to the title company. And once that's in their escrow account, they'll write a check to the seller of the house, who will walk out at closing with a check in their hand. Or maybe there is no money. Maybe the seller is just walking away, clean slate, doesn't owe any money, isn't ahead any money, and just walks away from the hassle of having that house in their name. And that in itself can be a big relief for some people. So now, how is this going to help you? Well, if you're the type of person that owns a house, that you don't want that house, these people are here for you. If you have a house that's either handed down through a death in the family, or inherited for some reason, where it's just full of all the old things in the house, you don't have time or money to go in there and get dumpsters to clean it out. I bought a house once that I think I had like 4 or 5 dumpsters of just stuff, trash in the house. This is what, even before the demo got started, like it was full of crap. 2-story house, horrible. Investors deal with that all the time. Like, they get houses that have leaks in the roof, they have tarps on them, all kinds of a mess of a house. And even if you have a good house, let's say it doesn't really need a whole lot, but your finances are in a bind and you're about to get foreclosed on, you're talking to the bank, they're like, yeah, we're about to kick you out, put a lock on the door and call it done. These guys can save you from foreclosure. When you have a foreclosure, you're looking at 3, 5, 7 years before you can own a house again, depending on what kind it is. These guys can help you out of that. So they can take over your loan, they can restructure it here and there, and they can help you out with these things like that. So if you're in a situation where this sounds like a decent deal to you, now, don't get me wrong, you're not going to make out with a whole bunch of money. All right. These investors, they make their money on the purchase of the house. The better deal that they get from the purchase means it's more money at the very end when they actually sell the house, or more cash flow if they're going to actually rent it out. So most people, they'll be pretty fair, but don't think you're going to get top dollar or market rate for your house, because that's absolutely not going to happen. And again, if you are going to go this route, do some research on who you're dealing with. There are some new investors out there that don't really know what they're doing. They don't really know many other investors or have many contacts to help you sell your house the right way. There are plenty of businesses out there that can help. There's real estate agents that deal with investors all the time. So do your homework, check around, call around, ask questions, ask a lot of questions for the whole process on what they're going to do with your house, and just be comfortable with knowing that they're going to get a good deal on your home, but you're going to walk away with a lot lifted off of your shoulders with this. So there you go. That's how the We Buy Houses Cash process works from start to beginning. If you like the video, if you found some good, useful tips in it, please like it, subscribe to it. I'm going to have plenty more like this coming out just randomly. I appreciate you guys. Talk soon.